I'll be discussing the topic metals, insulators and semiconductors. If you can remember from previous classes, the main difference between metals and insulators is in their behavior of electrical conductivity with temperature increase and decrease. In case of metals, the electrical conductivity decreases with increase in temperature, while in case of insulators and semiconductors, the electrical conductivity increases with increase in temperature. Why this happens can be best understood using the band model of solids. Now, what is the band model? It basically states that there are two bands between which the electrons get transferred. The lower energy filled band is the valence band and the higher energy empty band is the conduction band. So when electrical conductance occurs, electrons move from the lower valence band to the higher conductance band. If we see the diagram for metals, it has been represented here as the density of states curves. So for metals, this is the valence band and this is the conduction band. So as they are almost overlapping, the electrons can very easily get transferred from the valence band to the conduction band. Okay. So now the next obvious question is, why does electrical conductivity in metals decrease when temperature is increased? Okay, the reason is that the electrons get scattered due to interaction with lattice vibrations. As the temperature is increased, the lattice vibrations increase, and so this interaction increases, electrons get more scattered and the electrical conductivity decreases. In order to understand lattice vibrations better, you can refer to the solid state defects video which I have done previously. Now look at the density of states curve for insulators. This lower band is the filled valence band and this is the empty conduction band. So as you can see, in metals the two are almost overlapping, but in case of insulators there is a considerable gap between the two. Like for example, in case of diamond, this gap is 5.2 electron volt, which is quite a large value. So in case of insulators, they don't really conduct electricity unless the conditions are very favorable, that is unless the temperature is extremely high. Now moving on to semiconductors. Here the energy gap between the valence shell and the conduction band, the valence band and the conduction band, is much lesser than in case of insulators. For example, in case of germanium, a very common semiconductor, this gap is 0.6 electron volt. So in case of semiconductors, the electron can travel this energy gap much easily than in case of insulators. Now this energy gap is much lesser, but this movement of electrons can be further facilitated by the process of doping. Now what is doping? Doping is the process of adding minute quantities of impurities to a semiconductor in order to increase its conductivity. Now this doping or this dopant can be of two types. See, semiconductors are generally belonging to group 14. So if the dopant is of group 13, that means the dopant has electrons lesser than the semiconductor. In that case, it is called a hole dopant, or a p-type semiconductor is formed. If the dopant belongs to group 15, that is it has more electrons than the semiconductor, then it forms a n-type semiconductor and it is called an electron dopant. So that the figure has been represented here, as you can see. In case of a p-type semiconductor, a hole dopant is used, such as gallium, which belongs to group 13, and this is the DOS curve. So this additional band has come over here because of the hole dopant. And in case of an n-type semiconductor, doping has been carried out with arsenic, which belongs to group 15, and an additional band has formed here due to the electron dopant. So in both these cases, essentially a charge carrier has been added. So the electron transfer from the valence band to the conduction band has become easier in the semiconductor. Now to understand the basis of p-type and n-type semiconductors. N-type semiconductors is pretty easy because it is essentially you are adding more electrons to the system, and so the electron can be thought of as transferring along a chain. But in case of p-type semiconductors, it is thought of as a hole being transferred along the chain. That is, an extra positive charge is generated in the system which is being transferred along the chain. Now how to understand that? That is basically complementary to electron transfer. To understand that better, look at this chain. If you consider these balls to be electrons and this gap to be a hole, I want this gap to move from here to the other end of the chain. Now how will the gap move? In order for the gap to move, I have to move these balls. So see, the gap is moving. The gap has moved again. And so on till the gap reaches the other end of the chain. So how has the gap moved? The gap has moved by the movement of the beads. So similarly, in case of p-type semiconduction, the hole moves because of movement of electrons in the opposite direction. Now moving on to non-stoichiometric compounds. In order to understand non-stoichiometric compounds better, how many types are there and so on, please refer to my video on solid state defects. I have mentioned them very clearly over there. So considering the first type of non-stoichiometric compound, Fe1 minus delta S and Fe1 minus delta O. In this case, Fe1 minus delta S and Fe1 minus delta O can be considered to be p-type semiconductors. Why? Because over here, let us specifically consider FeO. There are two types of Fe atoms, Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus. So basically, the Fe2 plus transfers one electron to the neighboring Fe3 plus and itself becomes Fe3 plus. Then again the Fe2 which is near it again transfers an electron to that Fe3 plus, and this electron moves along the chain and the hole moves in the opposite direction. So this is considered to be a p-type semiconductor. In case of the second type of non-stoichiometric compound, that is Na1 plus delta Cl and Zn1 plus delta O, if you recollect, in this kind of non-stoichiometric compound, there is an excess of electrons because the amount of Na is fixed, because Na has only one type of oxidation state, but Cl is the one which is varying. That is, the number of electrons is varying. So in this case, that electron simply gets transferred, and so that is an n-type semiconductor. So those can be thought of as trapped electrons which get transferred. This is the basis of the DOS curves of metals, insulators and semiconductors, and the different types of semiconductors including non-stoichiometric compounds. The applications of semiconductors are immense and the applications of doping are immense. In addition to applications to semiconductors, lattice defect compounds are important in various other aspects of chemistry such as catalysis, luminescence, photography, and also in certain other cases such as radiation damage in materials and corrosion phenomena.